I'm really excited about this, and for a 62-year-old guy to get really excited, it takes a little bit of effort. And this took no effort because I have Ronda Rousey on the roster report. Rhonda, thank you for being with us and taking the time this week.
I don't know. Thank you for having me. I've been waiting to say thumbtacks to you for forever.
Thumbtacks. I know. I know wrestling. He's got a family, like by God. You got to work this week. Not as if you don't work every week. This week you have an engagement with Miss Alexis Davis. I've done a little bit of work. You know, she's 16-5, not bad. 7 wins via submission, 2 by knockout, 3-fight winning streak, all good. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Considering I live in Oklahoma, I ain't got a damn clue what the hell that means. Other than I respect Brazilian steakhouses, but I don't know anything about the Jiu-Jitsu. You have to help me there. It's not as good as judo, right? And that's what you say.
Well, I really believe that Jiu-Jitsu and Judo are basically the same sport. They just have different emphasis. So, like, Judo emphasizes 80% stand-up and 20% on the ground, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like 80% on the ground but 20% stand-up.
Got it.
So, Judo people can get away with having no ground game at all, but if you are good enough to be able to submit someone in Judo, like, you have to get it done in like 2 seconds because the referees actively hate groundwork.
Well, the competition level between the jiu-jitsu people and the judo people seems to be it's kind of entertaining, I think. But I enjoy when the TV announcers talk about BJJ. For a long time, you know, I'm having to get on my iPad and Google what BJJ is. Everybody's not everybody's not a hardcore fan. We're all trying to invest in this thing called MMA. I've been watching it for years and I love it. With all this film work you're doing and the training for fights, you have essentially been on like a year roll?
Not even a year. I think from August till now, this will be 3 fights and 3 movies since August.
Do you sleep?
So, a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. Good thing my best friend works at a coffee shop, so helps save me a little money.
You get a deal?
Yeah.
How do you look, I did a little movie part last week. I was out in L.A., black hat and all, had a hell of a time. Stayed at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. If you want to be seen by people or see people that are strange, that's a great place to hang your hat. But nonetheless, I digress. How do you maintain your focus? Movies, you got to remember marks and words and stuff, and you're young and smart, but how do you keep up with all that?
Well, actually, I think they both help me stay focused on the other, because if I just do fight camp after fight camp after fight camp, it gets really tiring after a while. And so, like, if I get to break it up and go do a couple fights and then go do a couple movies, like, one makes me miss the other. If I do a bunch of fights in a row and I'm so tired, it's actually a relief to go and do something different and go film something. And then once I'm off filming, I really, really miss the gym, and I miss training, and I miss that lifestyle. When I get back at the gym, I train way harder than I would have if I was just, training halfway in the meantime. And so I really feel like I'll have a longer career in both because of that.
That's good. Staying focused, making money while you can, saving all you can. That's a good theory.
I want to be able to just retire and make babies and go surfing.
There you go.
I don't want to work.
Yeah, no. You want that's the deal. There's got to be an end game. Because once you retire from fighting, you'll get a zillion more opportunities. Which I'm not trying to talk you out of stop fighting early by any stretch. But the issue is, the bigger you get in MMA, the more opportunities it's going to create. The bigger star you are in the UFC, which you are already, arguably their biggest star, there's just going to be more opportunities. So you're going to have a lot of decisions to make going forward, which is cool.
Yeah, actually, Judo Gene LaBelle, who I don't know if you know him, probably.
Sure I do.
I wrestled back in the day, and he was one of Roddy Piper's teachers, which is how I really got the nickname. But he was actually trying to convince me to not fight in the beginning, and trying to get me into stunts and all the other opportunities that I created from fighting. And he told me, he's like, listen, kid, I won every REAL fight and never made a penny. And I lost every REEL fight, and I'm retiring comfortably. That's a pretty good point.
He was he's a classic guy. He's one of the legit tough guys in all the showbiz world of pro wrestling. Judo Gene was one of that handful of guys that anytime all the old wrestlers are talking about who was really the badass, who was really the badass of the locker room or this territory or whatever, his name's always in the conversation. I've never heard one without his name being in it. So
yeah, and the funniest thing is for the longest time I never knew he was just Uncle Gene, and then not until I got his autobiography and I read it, I was like, oh my God, Uncle Gene did everything.
Uncle Gene's on YouTube. He is, and it shows he beat the hell out of some guy, some boxer, in a allegedly the first ever MMA match. It was like in the 30s or 40s or 50s or sometime. But it's on. I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes on YouTube. And he.
His mom was a promoter at the Olympic Coliseum.
Right.
And she sanctioned it, which I think that's the only reason why really. He sanctioned it on TV.
He saw he was in those unusual positions as a promoter, the son, a talent, a fighter, and the promoter's son. So he saw money coming and going. Not a bad deal. You mentioned you got the Rowdy. Was that your idea to be called Rowdy Rhonda, or did somebody suggest it to you, or how did that come about? Because I know wrestling fans they embrace those types of things.
Well, when I first started fighting or wanting to fight, I was like, man, I need a nickname. And always the first thing that came to the top of my head and everybody else's head when I asked them was Rowdy. But I was like, man, Roddy Piper already has that name. I can't just take it. I mean, it's already so famous. And so, what's it called? Judo Gene was opening up a new location for his school highest stand. And Roddy Piper just happened to come to the grand opening, and it was right before my first amateur fight. And I just went up to him and I was like, excuse me, sir, would you mind if I used your nickname? I have my amateur debut, and is it okay with you if I use Rowdy? And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever, can't have fun. And I'm sure he didn't think anything would ever come out of it.
That's pretty good.
And a couple years later, here we are.
Yeah, here we are, exactly right. Now I know you were a bartender at one time, and I have been known to have a social drink from time to time. If I were to come into your bar and sit down and I said, make me the best drink you make, what would you make me?
Well, the thing is, I specialize in panty droppers, which are like the kind of drinks that have a lot of alcohol in it and
panty dropper.
Taste it at all. And so you sound like the kind of guy that would enjoy the taste of alcohol. So I don't know. I might just pour you something neat just because it make you feel a little bit more masculine.
Yeah, well, hey, help us out here. Help a brother out.
Yeah, give you some Jameson neat. That's all you'd get.
Yeah, help a brother out feel a bit more masculine on that deal. Well, that's hey, see, you got this trait. You got people skills out of this deal. You got to kind of get street smart, because every bartender I've ever seen is any good, street smart. So now you got these marketable skills. If this fighting thing doesn't work out, you got things you can fall back on. You got Plan B.
That's true. And it's funny. I used to be really, really shy. Like, people don't really know that because it doesn't really come across these days. But bartending really helped me out with it, because, especially with media. Because if you think about it, people don't pay you a tip because they like alcohol. They pay you a tip because they like you.
Right.
And so you're talking to person after person after person, and you're trying to sell them on you. You're trying to get them to like you. And every single conversation is basically the same. If they want a drink, you're going to give it to them. And what is media really? It's the same conversation over and over and over, except for you, of course, because you're so unique. And you're just trying to get people to like you enough to, make an impression and give you their money.
A press conference is nothing but a big happy hour.
Yes, yeah, similar, yeah.
That's all it is, right? What's the biggest tip you ever got? You remember?
The coolest tip I ever got was I had a really, really busy bar, and this guy just asked me for water, and usually it's such a pain when people ask you for water and you have a packed bar. So I was like, yeah, sure, I stopped what I was doing and give the guy water, and he gave me a $20 tip for free water. And I always remembered that. I always thought that was super cool.
Yeah, that was a nice guy. Nice guy. Well, you were nice. You served it. You provided the service he needed. Hey, tell me about the Four Horsewomen. I'm getting. I was the broadcaster during the Four Horsewomen days, and I've been around the pro wrestling business for 40 years as a broadcaster and whatever. So I'm intrigued by this quartet. Tell me about them.
Well, I was big into wrestling when I was a kid, and I kind of just fell out of it and was thrown into judo and MMA. And when I really kind of got all four of us girls together, it's me, Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, and we all lived together in a house in Venice. We all trained together, and Shayna just is a walking wrestling historian. And she took it upon herself to educate all of us. And our group activities, we all sit around and watch WWE together.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you watch the network, or do you watch TV? I mean, does she have a network, WWE network?
I think we actually do have a network.
Yeah, we do. That's a good deal.
I confirmed in the other room. We do have it, and on the phones and everything.
Well, it's $9.99. I mean, really. I mean, think about it. WrestleMania would have been $64.95. And it was included. It was rolled into your $9.99 a month.
Yeah, we watch everything, so it saves us a lot of money. And so we would start posting all the stuff about wrestling all the time. And since there's four of us, our fans actually started calling us the Four Horsewomen. And we just started rolling with it. It stuck. So it was a fan-given name. And since we were never really like such good guys, we always were more of the heel chicks. It just seemed like so appropriate for us.
They had the most fun.
Heels always fall, but heels become legends.
Yeah, heels in pro wrestling have the most fun. Trust me. In the ring, walking the ring, their interaction with fans at the hotel, they have the most fun. Trust me. On the heels, for whatever reason, are bigger than life personalities. And those, Muhammad Ali told me one time back in the '80s. We shared a suite at the Hyatt Regency in New Orleans, getting ready to do a wrestling show. So he's going to be in one of the good guys' corner. So and I'm doing the broadcast. So I'm taking care of him. Muhammad needed care. Bless his heart. He was, and so I was his guy. So he says, I figured out early on in my career that I could make a hell of a lot more money if people paid to see me lose than they would pay to see me win. And I thought that was an interesting piece of psychology, because here he is. He was a black guy with a Muslim name, didn't go to Vietnam. He's a heel. Now he's the best fighter in the world, but he's a heel, and maybe, just maybe, somebody will whoop his ass and shut him up. But that was the deal. That was his gimmick. That's how he sold tickets, and it worked.
Yeah, but then again, how is he remembered? How is Mike Tyson remembered?
Well,
they're remembered with such respect and adoration, even though at the time they were competing, people didn't really feel that way towards them at all.
I think you make a full circle. I think the longer you can endure and be good at whatever role you're in, at some point the audience appreciates it. And that's why a lot of the bad guys in pro wrestling who've been around a long time, like Ric Flair, he loves to be a villain, but how do you hate Ric Flair? I mean, he's Uncle Rick. He's your Uncle Gene. He's a crazy old Uncle Rick. So how do you hate that guy? I can't. How about if I got real ingenious? How can I get involved in a Rousey Cyborg fight? Not in the octagon. I don't need to be inside. I promise you. I want to see this.
Not
fight.
In the octagon. You would have to get my little sister involved, because I would beat up any person on the planet for her.
Wow. This is a pay-per-view made in heaven and a payoff made in hell, because Rousey Cyborg is a major main event headlining fight somewhere, sometime. And because the poster is going to sell everything. I mean, we're going to hear from you. I can't understand what she says. She's probably a lot like people here listening to me. I'm an Okie. So how the hell do you understand what I'm saying? But can that fight ever happen in your mind? Will it ever happen?
Well, I've always been down to fight her, but the thing is, around 24 hours after they announced out-of-competition drug testing in the UFC, she asked for a release. And, I'm a UFC fighter, so if she runs out of the organization, there's nothing I can really do about it.
Right, that's right. Hey, well, we can fantasy book it.
Yeah, we definitely can.
You know, it looks good on a poster. We shut our eyes and see the poster. It's a Help a Fight poster. Well, maybe
half of the poster looks good.
Yeah, well, true. There's a lot of ink, Lord. Not there's anything wrong with that, kids. And so those of you that are listening for the first time that have a lot of tattoos, don't get all pissed off because I'm not knocking tattoos. Are you friends with Natty Neidhart?
Yeah, I met her at the Gracie Academy before, and I know her and Shayna are super close, and I think her, Shayna, and Marina helped her out with her match with Ric Flair's daughter a little bit. But, yeah, she's super cool. I don't have her number. I wish I did.
Well, I'll get that for you. I'll pass that along. I know she's a big fan of yours. A lot of the guys in WWE are Ronda Rousey fans. And it's oh yeah, a lot of guys because, well, there's a lot of reasons. But they're young and you're young and attractive people attract each other. And there's just that it's what it is. So I'm trying to be an ass, but they really respect what you do. I think your intensity, the fact that, you know, you're in the show business world of UFC, but the payoff is real as hell. And that's why I try to tell people about pro wrestling. Pro wrestling and UFC have a lot in common at certain parts of the journey. And then at the octagon door, the pro wrestling guys check out and the fighters step in. Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually ended up getting a lot more respect for wrestling after I'd done movies, because I realized how hard stunt work really is. And with movies, I have so many chances. I get as many chances as I want for as many angles and make it look the best. And to think of having to night after night after night have to hit whole fight scenes that aren't scripted, you're just freestyling it, that have to look good in front of a live crowd from any angle. I mean, that just blows my mind. And see these people do it, you know, almost every day a week. It's insane.
It is.
And I couldn't have more respect for the business.
Well, I think that the feeling's mutual there. I was just wondering the other day, is Gina Carano coming back to UFC, you think? Just your gut feeling. You think she'll make the commitment to come back? Because obviously there's one fight everybody wants to see. If that does happen, that would be you and her somewhere down the road when the table was set correctly.
I mean, to be honest, that has always been my dream fight. She was the first women's MMA match that I ever saw. And, you know, that's the one match that I want to have before I retire. But, I mean, it's entirely up to her. You can't force anyone else to want to fight. That has to come from you. And I would respect any decision that she made. And the one thing standing in front of me and that possibility ever happening is Alexis Davis. Right. I have to win this fight with Alexis Davis for that fight with Gina to ever be a possibility. You
said this week, I saw one of your sound bites, that this is the most important fight of your life. And I really believe, and I believed you. And not that you're just trying to sell pay-per-views, but I believed you. The intensity on your face and the conviction in which you said that convinced me that you were damn sure dead serious that this is a big money, big serious deal, that if you don't win this fight, a lot of things may not happen that you want to happen.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great and terrifying things about this business is all the work that I've done my entire life is being put on the line every couple of months. And to fall now would be like tripping at the finish line. You know, I feel like I'm right on the brink of doing so much that it would all be wasted if I failed now. And it really is the most important fight that I've ever had in my life, because now so much has happened and so many accomplishments have accumulated that there's never been so much on the line as there is now. Yeah,
I understand. No, a lot riding on the line, and it's interesting. What was it, the last Misha Tate fight where you didn't shake hands and the crowd kind of booed you? I thought that was kind of. Hey, look, I thought it was kind of cool.
Thank you.
I really did. You steered the course. You didn't do anything after the fight that you didn't do before the fight. You whipped her ass, and you said you were going to, and you did, and you were very convincing. And when you left, you were equally as convincing. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. That was perfect.
Hey, look, when I'm actually inside the fight and fighting, I am the most sportsmanlike fighter that you've ever seen. I've never done anything unsportsmanlike within the match. I mean, Misha, on the other hand, has pushed off a girl's face to stand up, has done 12 to 6 elbows, elbowed into the spine, grabs the cage all the time, but, offers a really phony handshake after a fight, and my handshake means something. And I'm definitely not going to shake her hand before I get an apology. And so if she performs an action that's entirely dictated by being watched, my reaction is going to be entirely despite being watched. So you can be the judge of who's the more sportsmanlike person or not, but you know what? I do have my principles, and I stuck to them.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was great. I really thought it was great. And people were talking about that a lot when the fight was over. The longer you can get them to keep talking about you when your fight ends, the better off you are, the more money you're going to make.
Exactly.
It's like I tell every young athlete. I signed The Rock, and I Stone Cold, and a lot of those guys. I signed the contracts at WWE, and I keep telling them it's real simple, guys. You got to learn the basic rule of economics. You can't buy more shit than you can pay for, and you don't need all this bling. You don't need how many watches do you need? I mean, I don't know, but you don't need 30. So that's just the deal, and that's why all these fights. I mean, the people love you, and then they can fall out of love with you real quick in an entertainment sports type entity. It's a fickle type. It's a damn fickle business. If there's one or two things that you're really, really concerned about as far as Alexis Davis's game on Saturday, is there just one or two things for the casual fan that I really must watch her blank or her blank and blank, whatever it may be?
Well, for one, Alexis can really take a hit. I mean, she's one of the chicks that I've seen be able to just brawl it out constantly every single round of a fight. And she's also the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt that I've ever faced. So if you ever want to see someone that's the hardest to knock out and the hardest to submit, it would be her. And if anyone's going to push me longer in a fight than I've ever been before, then it's going to be her. And a lot of times I love leaving fans with that feeling like they wanted more. I would hate to be that fight where everyone's like, oh, finally it's over. But I really feel like Alexis could be the one to really leave the fans satiated.
She says that the deeper water she takes you, the better her chances are. So I'm assuming she's talking about rounds 4 and 5, but you haven't been around 3 yet, have you?
I did go to round 3 shortly. But she's never been past round 3 ever either. She's never had a championship fight, and I don't know why everyone thinks that I'm going to gap out, because, I mean, I really get better as the rounds go on. If you saw in the Misha fight, I actually pick up the pace as the fight goes along, and I'm an Olympic athlete. I was trained to, have up to 6 fights in a day, sometimes with no rest in an Olympic format. It's just back-to-back-to-back fights. And, I don't know why everyone assumes that I'm so out of shape. I think it's because my pace is so high. They don't think it's possible to maintain it, but that's just the way that I fight. So
well, I think
if they're hoping to get lucky and hoping for me to get tired, that's a terrible game plan for them.
I think, Rhonda, that people are wondering just how good you can be, because you've been really, really good so far. Really good, extraordinarily good. But I think everybody knows that somewhere along the way, no one's unbeatable when you're wearing 4-ounce gloves. So I think that there's a little bit of how much better can Rhonda get. Now, what I say is I saw knees in the last fight that were more effective than I'd seen knees before. And I've also seen the fact that I believe, as a novice sports fan and a MMA junkie, UFC junkie more specifically, that your punching, your striking is improved by leaps and bounds, where it's almost like, oh yeah, she can hit. Shit's pretty damn good. Do you feel like that?
Well, people forget that I won the world title from Misha Tate originally 20 days short of my professional, my anniversary of my professional debut. So that was a year after I'd been fighting pro, less than that I won the world title.
Right.
And so I didn't really have any experience. It was like, my 5th fight? I mean, I've had more title fights than I've had regular fights. And so the amount of improvement that I'm making from one fight to the other, I mean, I really did have to learn on my feet, and I'm still improving. And I feel like I'm just starting to come into the beginning of my prime. And I was really just leaning on my judo and what I had from, my first two Olympics to get me by before. But really becoming a complete mixed martial artist now. And I really got that full quadrennial of work put into really well-rounding my game. And Alexis has been around a long time. I mean, how much could she really improve when she's already had so many fights and so many years of experience, when I really haven't had that many fights? And the amount of experience that I'm building every single one of these world title matches, I mean, I feel like I'm a different person every time I get in there. I feel like the me now could beat the hell out of the me that beat Sarah McMahon in February.
Wow. That's scary. Well, on that scary note, I really do appreciate you being here, and it's a crazy week, and the guys at UFC were nice enough to hook us up. I wanted to, and I still may show up on Saturday. I want to come to see you. I want to see you fight live. I've seen every one of your fights, but I haven't seen one in person yet. I need to do that in my while I'm still above ground. So keep fighting for a while, will you? Because I got to make it out there. Maybe the end of the year. Maybe the end of the year or something. That might be
all right.
That might
all
be cool.
Right.
Hey,
I really got to win this one so I can fight in front of you at the end of the year.
Absolutely. Maybe then we could go someplace and you and I could do commentary over your match. I could do it like I could do it like I used to. I could do it with your. I could do it with one of the horsewomen, like old school pro wrestling. We could put you over. Now I got one last question. That's it. This is it. I promised to ask this, and I keep my word. I am a man of my word, if nothing else, ladies and gentlemen. So the question of Ronda Rousey, probably the most stimulating question of the day, is why did the Queen of Spades become your favorite horsewoman?
Why is she my favorite? Oh, you can't say that I have favorites.
Favorite. I asked the Twitter followers for some questions because I thought they might come up with some good ones. But anyway, your buddy, your pal, one of your roommates, one of the horsewomen said, ask Rhonda why the Queen of Spades became her favorite horsewoman.
She's just starting to. She's trying to instigate. That's like picking a favorite kid. I can't do that. I can't do that because the other two will jump me the second I walk into the house.
All right. I think if they're trying to set you up, maybe it's a revolution of some sort on Fight Week where they're trying to upset you, and they put a lot of money on your opponent. I'm kidding. Hey, what will you binge on eating after the fight? Because I know you've been obviously dieting and.
I always have the same thing. I always have the same celebration meal. I always need a huge plate of buffalo wings, naked with extra hot sauce and blue cheese on the side. Get that ranch away from me. And some sort of dessert a la mode. I just need a dessert that's half vanilla ice cream and half something hot. And I've been looking forward to that for a long time now.
Now those wings are naked. You're clothed.
Yeah, the wings are naked.
You're clothed. You're clothed. I'm just trying to close this interview with a little bit of class here, ladies and gentlemen. The next big commercial is Rhonda eating naked wings. And you can make that, you linguists out there, any way you choose. You can put commas in there, semicolons. It could be very entertaining.
Yeah,
Rhonda,
as you will.
Yeah, as you will. Hey, look, good luck. Don't take anything for granted. You know how these things go. We're pulling for you. I'm amazed at your career. I think it's just, you're just close to getting, like you said, in the beginning of your prime. Everything gets better. But being the hunted will never end for you. So you always got that big old bullseye on your chest. So good luck and be ready for a fight, right?
Yep, I'm always ready. The dog with the bone is always in danger.
That's right.
But I'm ready. My eyes are always open. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'm pulling for you, and I'll be thinking about you in Oklahoma if nothing else. So you got one fan in Oklahoma for damn sure that's going to be on the edge of his seat watching you fight, and just don't. I'm old, so don't put a lot of pressure on my heart, and we'll. And then I hope to see you in December.
I'll be happy to entertain you, and you won't be disappointed.
All right. Thanks, hon. I appreciate you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.